So hi, everyone. We're right there at 12:30, so I'm going to get started as everyone moves on in. I'm Denise Rislow, and I'll be your moderator for today's session. So thank you for joining us on this Assessment Center Coffee Chat. This is the second one of 4 that we have going on each week this month. We know your time is valuable, so we're happy to have you here today to learn more about our new Assessment Center. So today we'd like to welcome you to the Assessment Hub. This session is being recorded for anyone that was unable to make it, and we'll have it available probably by the end of next week for anyone that would like to view it then on our transition webpage, excuse me. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the Q&A. The chat will be turned off, so put them there and then we'll answer them if we can as we go along, but if not, we'll answer them together at the end. So today's session, we're going to cover how to add and update student information along with how to use the template. We're going to talk a little about scheduling exams, including students who require accommodations. And we're going to give you like a tiny glimpse of score reports. But when I mean glimpse because our 4th session really is dedicated to covering score reports, and you can learn about it more then. We will put the link of the glossary. It may be good to have that open. There's some new terms that were different from the old system that are new to this system that may help as you go along with this session. So now I'm going to hand it over to Emily.
Great. Thank you so much, Denise. And hi, everyone. My name is Emily Yunker, and I am the Director of Assessment Services. And I'm joined today by my colleague, Chiquita Carey, who's driving our presentation. To start our session, I'd like to direct your attention to our website, paeaonline.org, where you will locate the member community icon to begin your journey. Since this is our new system allows you to use your one PAEA login for accessing the PAEA Assessment Center, along with other important member services. Since this is a test environment, we will show you where to go. However, we've already got the member community homepage prepared for you. Once you're logged into the member community, go to the Assessment Center dropdown and click Assessment Hub. Once you're in the Assessment Hub, the top navigation shows you all the functionality of the site, which is also shown in the middle of the screen for easy access. At the bottom of the page, you have our contact information for PAEA exam support, a link to our incident reporting tool, and the all-important chat widget. Now we'll walk you through the functionality. The first step once you start setting up the Assessment Hub is to set up your students. As part of the transition, we will ensure that all students currently active in Exam Driver will be transitioned to the new system. To create new students, setup is a 2-part process. The first is to create student groups. This is a required free text tag that allows you to group your students for score reporting. To create a new group, click Add Student Group and type in a name that you would like to use. If you only have one campus, you can create a single group for all time. If you have multiple campuses or you prefer to group your students by cohort name, you can use that as well. The group name can also be edited at any time by clicking the Edit button on the right. After that's set up, you can add students. So go back to the Student Roster tab and Manage Students. The full instructions are available at the top of the screen, just in case. The students are grouped by graduation year, so select the appropriate year in the dropdown. One new feature with this system is that you will upload all students at once using a CSV file. To do this, click Upload Students, download the template, and fill it out. We'll walk through this template column by column. You can reference the glossary for guidance on what the columns mean and the rules, but we'll go ahead and walk you through it now. The first name, last name, and email address are pretty self-explanatory. The graduation year must be a 4-digit graduation year. These are automatically populated in the system, so just select the appropriate graduation year for the students you're uploading. The student group column needs to match exactly what you entered in the Manage Student Group screen. It is case, space, and spelling sensitive. The time-based accommodations column is a yes or no option, and it indicates whether a student is eligible for accommodations. You'll specify the length of the accommodation when you schedule each exam. Finally is the graduation date. This controls the student's access to the assessment hub, and they will have 120 days after this date to access their score reports. It also controls their eligibility for the end of curriculum exam. So after you've made your edits to the CSV file, it's time to save it. Each computer may open this in a different program based on your computer's default. If you're a Mac user like Chiquita, it may open in Numbers, which automatically changes the file type to .numbers. If this happens, go to File, Export to, and then select CSV, and follow the prompts to save the file as a CSV file. For PC users, it will likely open the document in Excel. It usually keeps it as a CSV, but just to make sure, go ahead and open the File menu, Save As, and make sure that the file format is CSV. When you've got your CSV ready to go back to the Assessment Hub, close out this and click the Finder menu and upload your file. We intentionally added an error here for demonstration purposes. When this happens, for instance, the .edu was left off of an email address or the student group didn't match exactly, you'll get an error report. Click Download Results, open that error file, and take a look at the error message that appears in the right-hand column. Fix the error that is indicated. In this case, it's the student group. And save this file as a CSV. You don't need to go back to your initial spreadsheet, as only the affected record will show up in this error document. So close this pop-up and redo the upload process, selecting the error report file that you just fixed. And you can see that the student was uploaded successfully. If a student changes their name or email address or delays graduation, or you notice an error not picked up by the system, you can edit each student's record individually. Just select the student and click Edit Student box and make the relevant changes. Next, we will show you how to manage student exam boxes if your program chooses to use them. Go up to Student Roster, and then Manage Student Exam Boxes. This tab shows you the exam box credits available for assignment in the upper left, and the balance of individual exam credits for each student who has one assigned. You can assign a student exam box by clicking Manage next to the relevant student. You can assign a student exam box, more than one student exam box to a student by clicking Assign Student Exam Box. This may happen if they delay graduation and repeat their clinical year. But you can unassign a student exam box as long as none of the exams have been scheduled by clicking Unassigned Student Exam Box. Next, let's schedule exams. Go to scheduling and then schedule an exam event. The first step is to set the exam details. You first select the exam type from the table, and if you choose end of rotation exams, you will have an additional drop down to select the specific specialty exam. Next is the delivery type. The end of curriculum exam only has in-person proctored available. This is a requirement for this important exam. One new development is that PACRAT and end of rotation exams are now aligned in how they may be delivered with more inclusive options. Again, in-person proctoring is available for those programs that choose to bring students to campus for these exams. The remote proctoring option has unique settings required for use with a third-party remote proctoring service. For these exams, you'll schedule the exam in our system, then book your date range with the remote proctoring service and add instructions for starting the exam, for which we will provide templates for you. And then the student logs into the third-party proctoring service to book their specific exam session. The unproctored option allows students to take the exam from home. The in-person and unproctored exams will be required to use our lockdown browser. After you've selected your delivery type, choose the time-based accommodations. Again, you set these at the exam level in this system, so you will need to create separate exam events for students using extra time. So we will choose standard time for this, and then you set the date and time. This selection varies by your delivery type. In-person exam events are scheduled for specific dates and start times. And for unproctored, you set the date range in which the students can take their exam from home. Students have the full calendar day on each day in the date range. For remote proctored exams, you also schedule a date range in which students can then book their specific exam with the third-party remote proctoring service. Time zones should be selected based on the time zone the students are in, as it impacts their start time for the exam. After the details are selected, you click Next, and then select the students. First, you select the graduation year in the upper right to filter for the relevant students. Students who are eligible for this exam, who don't already have one scheduled of that type or at that time, or are not at the appropriate stage of their education for the end of curriculum exam, will appear in this list. For exams with time-based accommodations, only students with the accommodations checkbox in their student roster record will appear. All students will appear for standard time exams, so this is a reminder to schedule time-based accommodations in a separate event as needed. You can also track standalone credit usage throughout the process. It's right above the table. So select the students you wish to schedule for this specific exam and click Next. Then you can confirm that everything is assigned correctly. You'll notice that the number of credits you're selecting at this time and the remaining credits are in the upper right corner here. If any students are being scheduled to use a student exam box credit, their exam will not decrease the remaining exam credits number. Instead, it will be taken from their student exam box balance. If something is incorrect with this exam, you can click back. If everything is good, you click Finish. This may take a minute to confirm your exam details, but if everything, then you have the final confirmation page. If everything is scheduled properly, you'll see the green checks in the right column. If there was an error, you'll see a red X. If you get that error, reach out to exam support. At the end of this process, students are sent an email confirming their exam details and their key code for starting the exam. We'll talk more about that next week in the test taking experience. You may also notice that there was not a place for location when scheduling this exam. This is something that you will need to confirm with students separately. Next, let's go to exam schedule. Up in the scheduling tab, select exam schedule. This is where the schedule confirmation details with all exam details can be found. You can see the student's identity verification key codes in case they forget on exam day. This is also where you can cancel exams if the student is sick one day or something was scheduled improperly with their exam. The final component of the assessment hub is score reports. We'll go into depth on this in the 4th webinar in this series on the 29th. But as you can see here, we have the same reports that you may be familiar with. They'll just be in a slightly different format. We also have all of your exam driver score reports available for download in the same format that you're used to. And that concludes our demo.